from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay.
I'm Charles Denny. This Halloween season, we visit a University of Tennessee Extension office where unexplained happenings happen all the time. That story from Carter County, Tennessee, coming up on AgDay.
Costco chicken are a popular seller, and now the company's making sure it can meet demand. And the stock markets move closer to record highs as trade negotiations between the U.S. and China take a positive turn.
AgDay, presented by the Chevy Silverado and the all-new Silverado HD, the strongest, most advanced family of Silverados ever.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Several new positive signs in the trade talks between the U.S. and China, and the news continuing to drive the stock market right now. Here's the latest. China's top trade negotiator, Vice Premier Liu He, says the talks between the two sides are making, quote, concrete progress toward a partial trade deal. He is emphasizing, though, that negotiations must be on an equal basis. He went on to say that both sides have laid an important foundation for a Phase 1 agreement. And President Trump also adding to the positive vibe, saying he thinks a trade deal between the two countries will be signed by the time the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meetings take place in Chile on November 16th and 17th. And he says the agreement would take 3 to 5 weeks to draw up, and work on a second phase would begin as soon as the first is signed. Chinese officials say discussions have already started on the second phase. And work is continuing in Congress on the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. Farm Journal's Jim Wiesmeyer reporting House Democrats are holding just as many meetings with U.S. Trade Representative Bob Lighthizer about USMCA as they're having regarding the Trump impeachment inquiry. He reports meetings were held last week with Lighthizer. House Ways and Means Chairman Democrat Richard Neal of Massachusetts leads the working group. He says the hope is that 3 more meetings will be held this week. A Cargill beef processing plant in Kansas reports it is receiving cattle again. That's after an explosion last week damaged a small portion of the facility. The explosion happening at the company's Dodge City location to a part of the building that processes blood into blood meal, a feed additive. Now, 2 workers were injured in the blast. A Cargill spokesman saying the necessary cleanup and safety verification were completed at the building following the explosion, and the plant resumed receiving cattle on Monday morning. Drovers reports the plant has a daily capacity of 5,200 head. Continuing to watch the race for president, a new poll from Iowa shows the race on the Democratic side is tightening up. A new USA Today poll shows that South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg has jumped 7 points. He's closing in on former Vice President Joe Biden and Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, the poll taken late last week puts Biden at 18%, Warren at 17%, and Buttigieg at 13%. High winds an issue right now in South Dakota, where gusts were expected to hit 55 miles per hour in several parts of the state. Those high winds whipping a lot of snow around. Now, this video shot at the historic Game Lodge in Custer State Park. The Rapid City area seeing about an inch of snow, while people in higher elevations seeing up to 5 inches. Some roads and highways in the Black Hills area under a no travel advisory, including portions of I-90. And with fall, rain, and snow continuing to show up in the forecast in more parts of the country, more farmers are working well into the night to keep harvest going. Meteorologist Cindy Clausen has more.
That's right, Clinton. Farmers are having to work all kinds of hours right now. Kirk Babcock sharing this picture with us on Twitter. He said Harvest 19 has just started at Steely Farms in Battle Creek, Michigan. And as you can see, they're turning on all the lights they can in order to light the way through the fields. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at your national forecast. But now, here are some hometown temps.
Introducing Farm Journal TV, on demand 24/7. AgDay, Machinery Pete TV. U.S. Farm Report on your phone and tablet. Download the Farm Journal TV mobile app today.
The USDA reports the U.S. is free of the plum pox virus. It's a virus that harms stone fruit trees like peaches and almonds. Now, it can cause yield losses and can reduce the marketability of stone fruit. It was first detected in Pennsylvania back in 1999 and was found in Michigan and New York in 2006. Now, last week, the Undersecretary for USDA signed a proclamation on the fight against the virus, saying that our 20-year fight against it is officially over. The USDA, growers, departments of agriculture in affected states and others helped to fight the disease by removing affected trees, planting plum pox virus tolerant plants, and temporarily banning the planting of susceptible stone fruit varieties. Now, the U.S. is the only country with the disease that has successfully eradicated it. Many people are concerned about exposure to pesticides in their fruits and vegetables that they buy at the grocery store, but a new report says that fear is not supported by science. The report comes from the Council for Agricultural Science and Technology, or CAST. A new CAST paper gives readers an overview of how pesticides are used and their benefits. Now, the study says many advocacy groups use results from U.S. federal regulatory monitoring programs on what fruits and vegetables are most likely to contain pesticides residue. But they say those studies show the foods that do have traceable amounts of pesticides contain so little that they are considered harmless to your health. As we told you at the top of the newscast, more positive signs out of the trade talks with China are moving markets. But what's the reality when it comes to commodities? Some analysis coming up. And later, you'll want to hear this spooky story, an extension office that may be home to much more than the people who work there.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
The Costco poultry plant in Fremont, Nebraska is officially open for business. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held over the weekend. Nebraska Governor Pete Ricketts on hand to take part in the ceremony. Now, it's estimated the plant will provide Costco with 2 million of those popular rotisserie chickens each week. It will be run by Lincoln Premium Poultry. Now, the plant has been in the works for almost 5 years. We're here in our Kansas City studios with Arlen Sudirman of INTLFC Stone. And Arlen, let's talk about the potential, or is there potential, in actually getting this trade deal done with China? Because we feel like we've heard these positive comments before. Is this time any different?
A partial deal, yes. The full deal, dealing with some of the real tough issues, no. I think we're a long ways away from having that happen, and I don't think we're going to see that happen. But the partial deal that has agriculture in it, I think, yes. We see some very different dynamics at play. The Chinese team this month brought 100 of their negotiators, really surprised the U.S. team with them. They wanted to make sure if something came up, they had the right person there to deal with it. The other thing we saw different this time around is that the China State Press, while they were here in Washington, the China State Press back home was starting to publish stories trying to prepare the people for China how a trade agreement would be positive for China. And that tells me a big difference, a change in the dynamics. I think we do get a deal probably soon so they can deal with the ASF problems and the Hong Kong pro-democracy demonstrations.
They're talking about $40 to $50 billion in ag purchases. Is that a realistic number? Can we supply that much product?
Well, first of all, a number that high tells me they plan on importing a lot of meat. But even then, it would still be very hard to hit unless we see a dramatic increase in prices, which would. Now, they'll probably use delivered, which have freight values on it as well. But it still is a lofty goal to hit, but I do think that we will see a notable increase. China had shut the door to almost everything but soybeans before. Soybeans won't get saved with this, I don't think, although it will help. But I think we'll see a boost to the other commodities, probably corn, ethanol, grain sorghum, wheat, some of the things that we're hearing from the cash sources.
All right. Well, it is a trade agreement that we're hoping to see signed here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Appreciate the insight as always. We'll be back with more Ag Day coming up in just a minute.
Contact Arlen Sudirman by email at arlen.sudirman@intlfcstone.com. Shop Machinery Pete's Price Slasher Sale now through October 31st, all online at machinerypete.com/sale. AgDay, brought to you by the Milk Business Conference. Don't miss this dairy business-focused event November 11th and 12th, 2019 in Las Vegas. Register today at milkbusinessconference.com.
Welcome back. Meteorologist Cindy Clausen. You know, Cindy, rainfall in Des Moines from January through October 20th, 46.16 inches, making it the fourth wettest year on record.
I believe it, especially after such a wet spring that we have. Well, it looks like they might get a little bit of a break, and not so much to start the day, but things will be pulling away and you might have some drier weather for maybe a couple of days. We have two main features that are going to be affecting parts of the east. As we have a low pressure system, we've got the cold front all the way down to the Gulf Coast. We also have a secondary system that's in the northwest, and that will bring some rain and some higher elevation snow there. But the bulk of the moisture is going to be with the system that's in the central and eastern part of the country. Let's put this into motion. You've got that strong low pressure system. Moisture continuing to wrap around that as it retreats into Canada, but watch as the cold front starts making its way towards the eastern seaboard, so we're looking for some showers and some thunderstorms, especially on the southern part of that. High pressure settles in and keeps things dry for much of the central and southern plains, and then on into the Gulf Coast states as we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday as well. The front that was out in the northwest starting to move into the northern plains as we get into the overnight hours, so we'll see some rain there, and again some of those especially higher elevations start to see some snow. We start to see that sneaking in to our Wednesday into the northern plains as well. And then as we head through our Wednesday, we see that low pressure starting to move into some slightly warmer air, but we're going to see some pretty chilly temperatures through Wednesday into the upper Midwest, while we see that high pressure keeping things dry in the southeastern United States. All right, let's take a look at that precipitation. This is the past 24 hours, and most of that moisture associated with that low pressure system and the cold front trailing all the way down to the Gulf Coast states, and that's where most of it's going to be over the next 24 hours as we see that rain spreading through most of the eastern part of the country. We'll also see some of that moisture from that system in the northwest as well, just not quite as heavy. But let's look at that snowfall. A lot of it's been in the upper elevations, but as you sneak on the next 24 hours, we're going to be seeing some of that snow sneaking into parts of the northern plains as well. What about those temperatures? Well, we're looking at some pretty chilly temperatures only in the 40s in the upper Midwest. We have some 60s and 70s, even some 80s still down south, 50s up in the northwest and into parts of the northeast. Temperatures in the overnight hours getting down to close to the freezing mark, probably below in some spots into the north central part of the United States. And as we head into your forecast for tomorrow, look at that high of only 37 in Bismarck. So yeah, the cold air has been coming in and out. We're going to be seeing 50s in the northeast, but we start to see a bit of a cool down in parts of the northwest as well. Jet stream shows that strong cutoff low pressure system that continues to kind of pull on off to the north. We start to see a ridge building into the western United States while that trough moves on off to the east. Things become zonal quickly this weekend, but another trough starts digging in for the early part of next week. That's a look at your national forecast. Now let's check on the weather where you live. Cloudcroft, New Mexico, abundant sunshine for you today with a high temperature of 54 degrees. Hope, Arkansas, sunny and pleasant with a high of 72. And Ridgely, Maryland, showers are likely for you, especially later today, with a high of 68.
The future of farm technology is on display at this year's Maker Fair in Rome, Italy. Hydroponic farming is the focus inside the Rethink Pavilion. Hydroponics are seen as offering a solution to farming in harsh climates. It's also a way to give astronauts their daily greens, but others, they're looking ahead to provide produce for a new colony of humans on another planet. One producer here says he's preparing to farm on Mars. His food tech startup called Biopic uses photosynthesis lamps to grow produce of all kinds. Now his startup grows vegetables on Mars simulated soil, a commercial product by NASA. He says he uses a specific wavelength that can modify the genetic expression of the plant to make them richer in antioxidants, taller, or tastier, which is kind of cool. All right, coming up, new effort to get whole milk back in your child's school and punishing farmers who make too much milk. It will soon become a reality at one co-op.
Join Andrew McRae for Farming the Countryside, a farmer-focused podcast that is all about production agriculture. Farming the Countryside is available wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and is brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions, the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services.
One of the largest dairy co-ops in the Northeast is making changes. Starting next year, producers will get less money for their milk if they produce more than their contract allows. This is for Agrimark members. A spokesperson saying each farm will receive a base production level. It will be based on their highest volume of milk sold over the past 3 years. He says if a producer goes over the base, there's a $5 per hundredweight penalty. He went on to say the program is designed to slow down milk production so growth can be at a manageable level. Officials at Agrimark say a letter was sent to farmers explaining that increasing their milk production while regional demand is decreasing is causing financial strain for the co-op. There's a petition underway to get whole milk back in school cafeterias. It has already garnered more than 5,300 signatures in just 2 months. The petition's lead organizer spoke with Politico, saying she will continue to push for signatures through the end of the year. She says she plans to deliver them to the head of USDA's Food and Nutrition Service. Currently, the National School Lunch and Breakfast programs only allow 1% and 2% milk. Still ahead, extension offices aren't usually places where a lot of crazy things happen, but something strange is going on at one extension office in Tennessee. We'll tell you the spooky story next.
Hey y'all, Justin Moore here. Get ready to kick up some dust with the Roxor Dirt Roads and a Country Show sweepstakes. Enter now for a chance to win a customized off-road Roxor and 2 VIP tickets to one of my upcoming concerts. Visit roxoroffroad.com/Justin Moore.
Closed captioning is brought to you by BASF. Grow smart with BASF. We create chemistry.
University of Tennessee Extension has a presence in all 95 counties in the state, and presence might mean more than just the people who work there. This Halloween season, we visit one office where the staff says a lot of things happen that can't be easily explained. Charles Denny has a haunting story.
Picturesque downtown Elizabethton, the town's showcase destination, a 134-foot covered bridge over the Doe River. Here, Carol Ann can go into the light. And a short distance away, there's the Folsom House, headquarters for the Carter County UT Extension Office. Vicki Clark is director here and says the old house, with its creaks and noises, has its strange moments.
We have some unexplained things, maybe. Chuck, do you hear something?
The revival Greek-style clapboard-sided house was deeded to UT Extension years ago, but perhaps not everyone wants Extension to stay. Vicki was working late one night and clearly heard the front door open, but when she went out to see who was there, the place was empty. Nobody upstairs in the 4-H office, and the door was closed.
Went up the stairs and looked, no one was up there. I thought, okay, came back into my office, sat down, I'm gonna finish this up and leave. And about that time, all the lights in the reception area went off. I took that as a sign it was time to go home.
UT Extension has been here 43 years, but the house is much older than that. Built during the Civil War by Henderson Folsom, a Confederate Army officer, he kept a close eye on his neighbor across the street, a Union officer by the name of Samuel Carter. Warring neighbors close by, the Folsoms hid Confederate soldiers in their basement. And it's worth asking, could some of them still be down there? There was an unexplained incident with the vent in the kitchen.
And sure enough, the heat vent was rattling and lifting up out of the floor like something was trying to come up through the vent. And the next morning, all the kitchen cabinets were standing open, and we don't know who did that.
Well, maybe somebody was looking for a snack. The staff says they hear footsteps coming from upstairs from time to time, and for sure, no humans are there. While Extension employees might not totally be welcomed here, perhaps if there is another presence in the Folsom house, they can coexist with their county agents. there's always a standing invitation to come sit a spell. This is Charles Denny reporting.
All right, thanks, Charles. Now, downtown Elizabethton has a reputation for being haunted, and the city has several ghost tours. There's even the legend that some nights you can hear President Andrew Johnson's horse still galloping through the streets. That's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Spend part of your day with us. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
AgDay, brought to you by the Milk Business Conference. Don't miss this dairy business-focused event November 11th and 12th, 2019 in Las Vegas. Register today at milkbusinessconference.com.